All right, so this is the speed section. So let's talk about the reports. Kyron's always good to create this slide for us in our training, and it shows the different linkages of the different reports. And what I mean by linkages is the aggregate reports, the product of end of year one, the official counts are represented in red, like report 3.9 and 18.1. And then the supporting reports, those reports that show you either the individual course detail or the individual student detail are in blue. And so I'm not going to walk through each one of these. This information is also available in the user manual. If you were to look at report 3.14 in the CalPERS user manual mapping guide section, you would see down in the table below that it's linked to report 3.15. So report 3.9, course sections completed by count by content area for departmentalized courses. So only those courses that were submitted for end of year one will show up here. And it specifically says departmentalized courses, because if you were to submit state course code 1000, I don't know that you would get an error. That data just wouldn't get into CalPERS, right? And so no self-contained courses. It shows you the different content area, state course code, world languages. You see in column 4, further down, you see CTE courses in the 7,000, 8,000 series. And then it has a count of the different sections. So how many times that course was offered in your LEA. And then, you know, the breakdown of what's really important, your students. You have the number of males, the number of females, those with a non-binary gender, and then the total. Report 3.10, course sections completed, count and details for departmentalized courses. Now this is the supporting report for 3.9, and this is where you can do some analysis or evaluation. 3.9 is just your official counts. This gives you a little bit greater detail about the course. As you can see, these elements in the slide on the left or the image on the left are the headings are specific to the course content. Then again, at the top, you can see that there's more information, right? And then at the bottom, there's a little bit more course information, but then you also see if that course is considered an education option course like independent study, AVID, or distance learning. But then those counts are featured as well. And these counts will be in sync with those on 3.9. When you're reviewing this report, it's of great importance to help you estimate what you may see on the dashboard in terms of your CCI. Before you run the report, you'll have the filters available to you. And hopefully after I do this, you can see my mouse. So this is what the image of the filters look like. And you can specify if it's a CTE course, yes or no. If that CTE course is giving college credit, right? And then you can also filter for state course code. So you can only filter for CTE courses in the 7,000, 8,000, 999 range, then these college courses as well. And that will help you identify some of those CCI indicators. If you were looking for a report to see how many students, the count of students completing these courses, you know, just make sure that you realize that it may duplicate because it is not a CCI report. Some students may have met the measure multiple times, and it will show every time that it meet the measure, but it helps you. If you want to get a student-specific report, that's when you come to report 3.11, course sections completed student list. And so you wanted to look at the same course and same metrics. If they met the CCI, you can do that. And then you can look at if the credits were completed, earned, final grade. This is like the report that represents the student course section completion information in the Carnegie unit. So you can use this for a count of students and then report 3.11 to see which students specifically would have met these measures. And then report 3.14 is the first of the several CTE reports. Its title has changed because, or maybe it hasn't changed, but the calculations have changed, right? Participants, again, are synonymous or include what we formerly thought were concentrators or what we formerly identified as concentrators. And so any student that's not a completer that is taking a CTE course will be included in this list. We no longer have a report that identifies concentrators, okay? And so it just has information about the CTE course that they took. It has a count of the different types of students that have been identified, right? And so you have your students with disabilities, those that are economically disadvantaged. Then you have a group of students that are identified as single parents or English learners, foster youth, tribal youth, homeless, armed forces family members. Again, this report provides information to Perkins. And then when you're going through it or you're selecting filters for the report, you could use this to identify those students who should, if you didn't submit an SCTE file, you can identify, right? You can filter for grade, see if they completed a CTE course. If that course was a capstone course, a part of the pathway, then you know that student should be included in your as with the SCTE record. Not just the 12th grade, but any student who completes a pathway in grades 9 through 12 should be reported in the grade in the year that they complete. But then you have filters for, your students with disabilities, English learners, Perkins, non-traditional gender, socioeconomically disadvantaged. These students are identified in Perkins. And so we have these students as CTE core indicators. And again, it's just those students that we showed you can filter for. For instance, non-traditional gender, you just want to, there's reasons to monitor that students are given the same access and opportunity regardless of gender to curriculum. And so 3.15 is the career technical education participant student list. Again, it's just supporting for 3.14. All your participants are listed, name, gender. There's the demographic information. That's kind of why the image was split up on one side and then the CTE course completion information on the other. And then you have your education option course completion. So if it was 3.10 that identified courses that are described as education option courses, here's a more specific report to that. So again, the same categories: independent study, distance learning, California Partnership Academy, AVID, IB courses, and then a count of those students. CTE completers by pathway. So this is going to represent the SCTE record, right? Students cannot be reported as completers without a SCTE record submitted. And they don't have to be 12th graders. If they've completed that capstone course and that pathway, you should be submitting the SCTE record for those students. You have different information about the SCTE course that they were in, and if they are in any of these type of categories. Some are programs, some are not, like English language status. It's not specifically a program. And then the two new reports this year for work-based learning are 18.1 and 18.2. And work-based learning is just a count. It has the different categories and how many students in your LEA are in each category. Certainly, you may not have a youth build or California Conservation Corps programs associated with your LEA. If you have any special education students in transition work-based experience or transition classroom work-based exploration, they will be represented. Your internships, your apprenticeships, your student-led enterprises, so on and so forth. It's a count by work-based learning category. Then your student list, those students listed can be in at least one, but they can be in multiple work-based learning types, and it will have a code here for the different type. And in column 10, again, it's a new data collection. The report will probably expand as the data collection expands, but the key data is identifying those students that completed work-based learning and then the type of work-based learning completed.